On November 21st, 2016, music superstar and fashion mogul Kanye West was hospitalized for what his doctor called erratic behavior. West was placed on an involuntary psychiatric hold, what's known as a 5150, by his personal doctor, Dr. Michael Farzan.
You're his doctor, sir, is that correct?
Yes, correct. I'm just calling for my cell phone. Request if we can have some police backup, because I don't think the paramedics, if you can bring both. Yeah, 'cause I think he definitely is going to need to be hospitalized, so I wouldn't just do the police by itself. I think he needs to...
Okay, what is the medical condition he's having, sir?
But where was West at the time that he was taken into custody for a psychiatric hold that would later permanently tarnish his mental health credibility due to being allegedly misdiagnosed, at least according to Kanye, with a bipolar disorder? He was at the house of none other than his personal trainer, Harley Pasternak. Pasternak is a well-known Jewish trainer to the stars in Hollywood, working with high-level celebrities like Halle Berry, Robert Downey Jr., Lady Gaga, Kim Kardashian, Mac Miller, and of course, Kanye West. On the surface, Pasternak appears to be a successful trainer that helps stars stay in shape to present the glamorous image that we're all used to seeing on TV and social media. Nothing particularly unusual about that. But more recently, texts have been unearthed between Pasternak and Ye, formerly known as Kanye, via Twitter after some controversial public statements online that have since been deleted due to largely being deemed as anti-Semitic. Ye explained in the caption of the tweet, "What should be obvious by now is that I was raised to stand for my truth regardless of the consequences. So I will say this again. I was mentally misdiagnosed and nearly drugged out of my mind to make a manageable, well-behaved celebrity." Followed by this recent text conversation with Harley, wherein Harley stated, "I'm going to help you one of a couple ways. First, you and I sit down and have a loving and open conversation, but you don't use cuss words, and everything that is discussed is based in facts and not some crazy stuff that dumb friend of yours told you or you saw in a tweet. Second option, I have you institutionalized again, where they medicate the crap out of you and you go back to zombie land forever. Playdate with the kids just won't be the same." Since when have personal trainers been able to threaten to have someone institutionalized, you may ask? Medicated the crap out of? Sent back to zombie land, as he so eloquently put it? Although I could imagine Harley's contempt towards Kanye's choice of words in the previous tweet, given his Jewish ancestry. But conspiracy theorists have already proposed another possibility. For when you dig a little bit deeper into Pasternak's background, his intentions could appear much more insidious. Harley Pasternak is a native of Canada who graduated from the University of Western Ontario with a degree in kinesiology and holds a master's degree in exercise physiology and nutritional sciences from the University of Toronto. During his tenure at University of Toronto, earning his postgraduate degrees, he worked for Canada's Department of National Defence. More specifically, in the Defense and Civil Institute of Environmental Medicine as a nutritionist and exercise scientist. Again, on the surface, everything appears to be fairly normal here. But perhaps his employers are more than meet the eye. What type of work is done there? Secret agents and other classified individuals don't exactly write their responsibilities on their LinkedIn, right? The DCIEM uses a system-based approach to cover all aspects of human performance and effectiveness, including individual and team performance, human technology interaction, and the social and psychological factors that affect the resolution of conflict. Results of research in the following fields: human performance in stressful environments, simulation and modeling of the human in complex military systems, human issues in command and control, psychology of malicious intent, or in other words, what some people are claiming, PSYOPs, psychological operations, tactics used by militaries around the world, including the US and Canada, and typically involve the use of psychological tactics on enemies and others to gain an advantage. This can range from propaganda planted around a war zone to psychological torture, such as forcing a prisoner to listen to loud, heavy metal music for hours and hours on end until they are ready to break and give up vital information. Brainwashing of sorts. What is even more peculiar is that Harley Pasternak's subdivision was funded by Canada's Department of National Defence, a branch of the Canadian government that supports the military and at one time included the Defence Research Board. This board, along with the CIA, at one point funded the MK Ultra project. And for those unaware, MK Ultra was a top-secret illegal human experimentation program that developed procedures and identified drugs that could be used to weaken individuals during interrogations. It utilized less than scrupulous means to achieve its goals, from the use of LSD to sensory deprivation to even sexual abuse. Despicable acts that were eventually ceased for obvious reasons.
You say drugs, so that like performance-enhancing drugs, or are they
all kinds of drugs?
Oh, right, okay.
So working for the military, I wasn't governed by the same laws that the typical person was, so I could look at the impact of certain drugs that are not everyday things. So we looked at a drug called modafinil, which was for narcoleptics. So if you give a soldier this drug, how long could they stay awake for without having any health detriment? It will keep you awake, but it's not a stimulant.
Really?
So if a special forces person has to stay awake for 3 nights waiting for the right opportunity to do whatever they have to do, we could give them modafinil and it would keep them alert.
Keep in mind, when Kanye was hospitalized so many years ago and eventually diagnosed with a bipolar disorder, the original diagnosis stemmed from sleep deprivation and exhaustion from being on tour. But I guess that could just be a coincidence. So why would a Hollywood personal trainer potentially have a connection to such a deep psychological division of the Canadian government? It has been hypothesized by a small sect of the internet that Pasternak could be more than just a trainer, rather a handler, set in place by powerful individuals to keep tabs on and even control celebrities that have been deemed difficult or think outside the status quo. Hypothetically, if the powers that be wanted to have a higher level of control over stars with significant influence, or rather, power to disrupt global agendas in their eyes, a handler with some military-level psychological training would not be out of the question. And disguised as a personal trainer for many of the most wealthy and influential people in the world? Even better. Remember where Kanye was at the time that he was first institutionalized in 2016, at Pasternak's house. Now, how would his personal trainer have the ability to commit him to a mental hospital? And even if he didn't, since technically Dr. Farzan was the person who called the ambulance, why would your personal trainer threaten to have you recommitted and drugged back to Zombieland so many years later? What does any of that have to do with physical fitness? Is Harley Pasternak serving other, more powerful interests in the entertainment industry? Or at the very least, does he have their backing? Is someone like Pasternak put in place to keep creative visionaries and thought leaders in line, to make sure that those that have the most influence and ability to sway the minds of the masses from the global agenda keep quiet? It would appear that in some of Harley Pasternak's prior client cases, such as Robert Downey Jr., things have worked out. Out-of-control drug addict turned Iron Man and face of the Avengers. Other cases, such as Mac Miller, not so much, although Mac did not seem to be too controversial of a figure, therefore no foul play seems to be involved. But regardless of what the actual motives of Mr. Pasternak are, I think we can all hope that Kanye maintains his mental and physical health. And as for who this hypothetical handler with a PsyOps background might actually be working for, there's no way to know just how deep that rabbit hole might go. One thing we do know is that Kanye continues to attempt to expose the entertainment industry's darkest secrets. Whether they are true or not is the real question. Unfortunately, I doubt we will ever truly know.